In 2016, I was given a vision of my death. I don't believe that what God gave me was just for me. It was for my grandson, it was for my wife, my family, my friends. It was for you. At the time of my vision, I had not been ill. I was not in some terrible accident. I wasn't near death. I didn't die. But the vision I saw and what I felt comes after that point when my life stopped. And then I was shown heaven. And you might say that's a pretty bold claim. How do you know it wasn't some vivid or crazy dream? Well, those good questions, fair. You ever heard of someone getting up and walking after being in a wheelchair for 14 years after they had a dream? Oh, this was much more than a dream. So what is or isn't death? The obvious answer is death is the absence of life. Yeah, I know. But if you think about it, that is what all death is. The absence of all life. So maybe the real question that we need to ask is, what is life? Well, stick around and I'll share some thoughts and opinions about that at the end of the video. As human beings, we have two parts to us. We have the physical body and we have a spiritual body, our soul. When our body dies, the physical body, everything physical stops. But our soul isn't physical. Our feelings, our emotions, our consciousness, even time. Everything that revolves around our physical body does not exist in death. But our soul, it's in the presence of God. Death or the grave can be thought of as a place of darkness where we all go, both good and bad, regardless of the moral choices that we made in our lives. A place of stillness and darkness where we are cut off from life, but not God. The spirit is separate from the body at death, but the spirit is not separate from God. Our soul doesn't die a physical death, and our physical body doesn't enter into heaven. People have died. They were resuscitated and brought back to life by the grace of God. Some of them have shared amazing stories of a beautiful experience. They describe seeing things like this beautiful white light, or a long dark tunnel with a light at the end of it, or heaven. Feelings of love like they've never felt before. Well, that is heaven. A few people have described having had negative experience. They describe this horrible feeling of sadness, suffering, and torment. They speak about how they felt no love for them. That's hell. So how can you say something like experiencing that sorrow, that sadness? How can you think that that would be a gift? Well, it's kind of a wake-up call from God. He's saying, okay, this is where you are. That's where you're heading. You sure you want to go there? He's giving you a chance to wake up to what's going on in your life. He's giving you a chance to make a different choice. Because that's what our lives are all about. Choice. Everything that we think, say, and do is our choice. Take the gift. I try to compare what I saw and felt to things that we all know. And hopefully you'll be able to understand a little better what I experienced. I don't know if these examples that I'm going to use are spiritual or biblical, but they help me paint a picture with words. That's all I'm trying to do, is paint a picture for you of what I experienced, what I saw, what I felt. When I saw myself die, I wasn't looking down at my body. I wasn't hovering over it or anything like that. I was walking around the room, and the doctors, the nurses, the techs, and I stood up by the head of the bed, up by my head. The doctor was up here. And when they brought my wife in after I had died, and I walked around the bed and I was standing in front of her, and I could feel something warm running down from my forehead into my eyes. And I went and I wiped away my eyes like that, and I looked at my hands and they had blood on them. And that's when everything went black. Not dark. Black. Okay. So what is the death of our body? It's nothing. It's like sleeping without dreaming. It's a lack of all consciousness, all awareness of anything that's around us. There are no feelings, no sights, no sounds, nothing. That's this huge, empty, black void that nothing physical can enter into or escape from. None of our senses, our sight, our sound, touch, emotions, they don't exist there in death. Nothing. But God does. I really didn't feel any fear or concern about safety. I felt the presence, maybe God. And He was there with me. I knew I wasn't alone. And I knew it was not going. He was not going to leave me there alone in that darkness. I was being allowed to experience these things, but that was all. I felt kind of like I was laying down, but I wasn't laying on anything. It's more like floating. My head was a little bit lower then the rest of my body is kind of like being slightly inverted. My arms, they were stretched out and just hanging. My head was tilted back and just hanging there. I did sense that I was being held back, kind of restrained. It's like I could look and I could feel, but I couldn't stay. I wasn't going to be allowed to stay there. I tried looking around. Tried opening up my eyes real wide, and I tried to squint to see if I could find something to focus on. But there was nothing. There was nothing for me to focus on. There was no one else there other than God. After that, I was in heaven. It's difficult to explain in physical terms what does not exist, or where the physical does not exist. And it's something that we don't feel. When we die, our body stops, and the feelings stop, and everything physical stops, and our soul and our spirit, it leaves the body. There's nothing to remember in death. There's nothing to know, because there's nothing there. Is what I experienced as death, or what happens in death, the grave, meant to be experienced? I would have to say no, not really. I think life is meant to be experienced. I think that our life is meant to be lived for God and shared with everyone, but not death. Our life is full of joy, happiness, sorrow, pain, good times, bad times, accomplishments, and defeats. Those are what we should share. But death is nothing. And there is nothing in death to share with anyone. So why was I given this experience? I don't know. Maybe it's because of this growing curiosity, this fascination with death and what it is. People wanting to know what's on the other side are hurting, even killing themselves by accident or on purpose, wanting to find the answer to that question. Maybe it's so I could tell you and others that God is life and nothing is in death. God is love. God created life. So life should be lived in love. It should be experienced. But what lives in death? Sin? Nothing? What can you create from death? Can you create life from death? No, you create life from love. So, what is life? It's the absence of death. I know. What is death? the absence of God in your life, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. Life is a choice. An everlasting life with God is also a choice. It's your choice to make. If you want to choose life where there are great things waiting for you, then you have to choose God living your life. If you want to choose life or death where there is nothing waiting for you, if you want to choose the world, then this world will be your reward. And at the end of the day, you're left with nothing. If you choose life, if you choose God, then at the end of the day, your rewards will be twofold. You'll be rewarded both here on earth and in heaven. And those rewards will flow like the oceans. And I pray that you choose well. My next video is called Seeing Heaven. It's about what I saw there. And I want to invite you to come to our website that I created. It's called raised-up.com. raised-up.com. Come there, see the videos that are there, videos that I'm making about all of the different visions that I've had, the messages that I have been given. It's a place where we can talk, we can share, we can learn. raised-up.com. Look forward to seeing you there.